All right, man. You feel me? We got DJ Fresh in the building, man. Just wanted
One
to thank
time.
you again for joining us. You know what I'm saying? I'm just excited to help out the community, you feel me, and kind of give them a little bit of insight on your journey as
Okay.
a DJ slash producer. So if you can, could you just introduce yourself, and let the people know where they can, kind of just your background, where you're from. For those that don't know, I know it's very little that
Okay.
don't know, but you know
No,
what
it's
I'm
all
saying?
good. Okay. So yeah, my name is DJ Fresh, aka DJ Fresh, DJ Fresh, DJ Fresh. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, raised in the Bay, did the whole back and forth thing till 18, 17. And I'm a DJ. I started out as a DJ at 9 years old. From 9 to 18, I was a DJ, and then maybe like 20, I started transitioning into being a producer. And yeah, just coming up in the I'm 42. I'll be 43, so I've been doing this a long time, over 30 years. So my
Man,
my career and story has went a whole lot of different places, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
but yeah,
All
that's
right, I
in
appreciate it.
in a nutshell. Yeah,
So, I mean, you beginning your craft at a young age of 9, you know what I'm saying? Which means, of course, you've been doing this for a long time.
yeah.
Uh, since you've been in the game for so long and collaborated with so many big names and stuff like that, can you share like like what kind of got you started with everything? What inspired you basically to be a DJ for the most part?
Well, at in the late 80s and early 90s was a time when people were transitioning from records, vinyl to CDs, and a lot of families was getting rid of their vinyl as the new technology of
Yeah,
CDs was coming around. And people, I mean, people had cassette tapes, but my family kept all their records. So, I had DJs in my family, I had musicians in my family, and that was like my early inspirations of seeing DJs in the black community was it was much more prominent than it is now back then. And when I say prominent, I mean if you were a DJ in the 90s, early 90s, it wasn't like being a DJ today, because to be a DJ today doesn't require much to get started as far as uh gear. You can
yeah,
be a quote unquote DJ with a laptop these days. But in the early 90s, if you were a DJ, then that means that, like, you had saved up a substantial amount of money to get the get. It just meant a lot more if you were in fact a DJ in the early 90s. You know what I'm saying?
right.
It came with a certain level of strength and respect, just on the strength of like being able to have the equipment and the gear to do this thing, you know what I'm saying, in the 90s. So, but I grew up around a lot of DJs, and so I was
Okay.
always seeing it growing up. I was seeing musicians in my family, uh, you know what I'm saying? So that was some of my early inspirations of how I got into doing music.
For sure. So, I mean, you said that you were born on the East Coast, later moved
Yeah.
to the West Coast. When it came to establishing yourself like as a DJ and a producer, was one region easier to break into than the other, or was it kind of just similar?
No, no, not at that time, man. I mean, at that time, I mean, if you were from New York, then it was
Yeah.
easier. But if you weren't from New York at that time, um, yeah, it was a challenge. This is like pre Pac and Biggie West Coast versus East Coast um era, but that tension was always kind of there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But no,
Yeah.
it was a lot harder to get notarized at that time. And but I moved around, like I don't have that
Yeah.
story of like man, this is where I was born. I was raised here, and that's all I know. I don't have that story because, my folks lived on opposite ends of the coast. So
Yeah,
sometime I was on the west, and then I was on the east, and then I was back on the west, and so my whole life I was back and forth between um the east coast and the west coast. And so in between all that, I also got to see both styles of what was going on the West Coast and then what was going on the East Coast. Because this is pre YouTube. This is pre. You couldn't
right,
just go get on the internet and see what was going on. You had to actually be there in real time. And the only
right,
time you would see what was going on is if you were there or maybe on a music video. But I was submerged in both areas of the United States where hip hop was going on. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to
yeah,
soak both sides up, you know what I'm saying, as far as the music and as far as uh the the differences, you know what I'm saying? Like what was
right.
going I just blended it all into one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure,
If
yeah,
that
for
makes
sure.
sense.
Though yeah, definitely makes sense. And that leads me to my next question. I mean, because your music has like a strong hip hop and R&B influence. How
Yeah.
would you describe like your current musical style, both as a DJ and producer? And what drew you to these genres? Just was it
Mhm.
just because you were born into it, or
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. So, again, I was just, when I first got into it, I was just listening to records, and then hearing some of the stuff that, my moms used to play or pops used to play, and then hearing what my, like when my, my family would play, and then,
yeah,
hearing that as a young kid, a young 9, 10, 11 years old. And then as I got older, I started to, as I'm listening to certain rap songs, I'm like, oh, that's that Isaac Hayes song
right,
that my uncle be playing, or you know what I mean. So I start,
yeah,
because when I was young, I would, you would hear hip hop and you would never question how the music was made. You just listen to it and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
But then when you start hearing like where they got certain songs from, then your brain starts to go, oh, okay, so they didn't necessarily play this. They sampled it. They sampled it, and then then you start going down that rabbit hole of ideas. You know what I mean? And then
right.
so when I turned around 17, 18, I went on tour with Nas when I was 17. No, 18, 17,
Damn.
18. Yeah, I went on tour with Nas when I was 18, and that was around that time. That's when I kind of started like getting more into wanting to see what the production world was and making beats. But to answer your question though, yeah, it just I just soaked up there was everything around me,
Mhm.
and that was like, my direction of my creativity, my artistry, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. I
Yeah.
feel that. I feel that. So how do you feel about like branching out into multiple genres beyond your specialty? Is this something that you would recommend? Do you think it's better to focus on what you know best, or do you think it's better just overall as a DJ and producer, of course,
Mhm.
do you think it's better to kind of jump and branch off into those different type of genres?
I think you should do whatever talks to you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think I think I think everyone should do whatever feels the most natural and the most fun to do, and just keep, just keep going down that road, keep going down that journey. And as you go down that road and that journey, then you'll naturally learn things that you weren't aware that you would learn, or could learn,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? um
Right.
so, everybody's different. Some people are going to gravitate towards certain things that others are not going to gravitate towards,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So that's what I think, I mean, because you want it to be fun. You want it to be fun, you know what I'm saying? And because
Right.
when it's something that's fun, you're gonna want to do more of it, so
Right.
I don't think that there's no one size fits all. But I would just say that um just don't be in a rush, because it's learning is infinite, knowledge is infinite, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
just trust the process and don't rush the process and enjoy the process, enjoy the learning and just soak it up and just, just stay at it. You know what I'm saying? And the more you stay at it, the better you'll become. You know what I'm saying? You'll start to develop a second nature towards uh your own sense of style and what you bring to the table, you know what I'm saying? And you'll just discover more and more. It's just like if you're in a relationship with somebody, right? If you're in a relation
Yeah.
When you're in a relationship with somebody, every time you get a new relationship, you learn a little bit more about yourself, like what you're willing to
Right.
deal with from a person, what you're not willing to deal with from a person, and then for the next situation, like, okay, I know I can deal with this, I can't deal with that, or I need to work on this, or I need to work on that. So it's the same with music. It's like the more you just go into your craft and just diving into your artistry, then the more you'll start to realize your strengths, your weaknesses, and what you want to get better at or what you don't want. You know what I mean? So it's just
Right.
the more you put into it, the more it will put into you, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, definitely makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my lead question was, having been in the industry for so long as you have, what are some key lessons that you learned, like especially when it comes to like collaborating with artists, performing for
Yeah.
large like crowds? Is there anything you wish you knew when you first started?
Uh, let's see. Is there anything I wish I knew when I first started? Nah. I mean, basically just what I said. Just, it's gonna take time. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
again, like I said, I've been in this 30 years. So if it was a situation that I got to where I got to like overnight quick, then I'm sure I would have had a lot more hurdles and mistakes that I could say that I learned from because, what happens fast doesn't usually last that long neither. So
Right. 100%.
I'm just saying, just take your time with it. Like, that's really it. That would be my main advice is just, stay consistent, just staying consistent and persistent. I don't really have like a story of where I'm like, dang, I wish I would have did this or that, differently because, um, I'm still learning, I'm not out the
Yeah.
game. I haven't quit. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, I can my only lessons is, just don't, just keep going, but understand that, it's gonna take some time. But I will say that, you know, spending spending dedicating 10 to, okay, if the average life expectancy of a man is 70 years, 80 years,
Yeah.
then I would say dedicating 20 years, 10 to 20 years to something that you really, really want to do, that's not a long time to dedicate towards something that you say you want to do for the rest of your life. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Um, so it took me 30. Some people may take 20, 30. Some people may take 40. Quincy Jones was in his well off into his 50s when he made Thriller. He made his first album when he was 11 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Man. Yeah.
So it just, the fruit you eat, the fruit you, I'm sorry, the seed you plant today is not the fruit you eat tomorrow. And I know we live in a fast forward time right now with people wanting things so fast. And, I see a lot of people waste a lot of time wanting something so fast that before you look up, they done wasted about 5 or 10 years just talking about what they wanted to do instead of actually just doing it.
Yeah. I
You know what I'm
definitely know
saying?
how that is. I definitely
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my piece of advice is just, just stay the course, man, and don't be trying to rush the process, just trust the process. I think about all the time that, like, I'm so glad that the level of success that I have now, I'm glad I got it right now and I didn't get it earlier because I wouldn't have the know-how via time and experience because experience is life's best teacher. I wouldn't have
Right.
had the know-how how to maintain it if it was earlier. If I got the blessings that I'm receiving today, if I received them earlier, prematurely, I wouldn't have been able to
Right.
maintain it and could have ultimately messed up everything that I had built up because I don't have the mental wherewithal to keep the machine going, to keep all this going. You feel me?
Right.
At
Man.
32 instead of 42 or at 22.
Right.
That's why you get a lot of these young niggas that become millionaires at 22 and
Mhm.
they get the tools to destroy themselves because they haven't had enough time or don't have the guidance. But I would say time. They haven't had enough time to know how to manage the lifestyle that comes with success, even on a smaller level. You know, you give a nigga a hundred
Right.
thousand dollars right now, and he think he own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Yeah.
So $10,000, a nigga think he own. But
Right.
it's not about the money. It's the mindset. You know what I'm saying?
The
It's just
mentality.
there you go, the mentality. So, you know, that's my main piece of advice is just, you know what I'm saying, don't rush the process, just trust the process and, you know, appreciate the process, man. You know what I mean? And it's gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
ups and downs, smiles and frowns. It's gonna break your heart, all that, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, it's all there to keep you going, propel, you know what I'm saying? Keep it going.
Yeah. For sure, man. That was powerful right there.
Okay. Yeah,
Nah,
for
I was
sure.
gonna say, lead into my next question is, from your perspective, what role does a DJ play in shaping the atmosphere of an event, and how does that differ from your role as a producer?
That's a good question. So a DJ has a lot of power, you know, he has a lot of power, especially, you know, at an event or whatever, you can shift the room to how you want it, you know what I mean? You can keep it going or
Yeah.
you can clear it out, you know, you could start a fight. You play enough, you know what I'm saying? You play enough of them ones back to back at a certain hour and lick, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
the saying with great power comes with great power comes great responsibility. But no, I would say that I mean they're very similar, but they're also very different from being a DJ and a producer. Like I don't DJ as much as I used to. I mean, I still can. I still practice and stuff for fun all the time. Um, but it's like okay, okay, here you go. So being a DJ, it's like you're getting ready for like fight night. You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting because
Yeah.
you're performing on the clock in front of people, right?
Right.
And being a producer, it's more like it's more like I would say it's more like it's just a you're in the kitchen, you know, you're in the kitchen or maybe I'm trying to think of a better analogy, but you just have more time to work on an idea. It's like you're not necessarily on a clock on an instantaneous clock. You're not on a clock like
Right.
that to where like you feel like you have this need or urge to appease the people in real time. You know, you get to take your time a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? But it's
Right.
also like, when you drop something, it's like once it's out there, it's out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's there's parallels and contrasts to both, but I apply what I know with DJing into my production. Like so the same way at a party or something, I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping everyone's attention and keeping them going. I apply that same thing with when I make my music. Like I want to keep the listener engaged. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
um yeah.
100%. I agree with that for sure. It's definitely it could be the same except for the real time aspect. Of course, you have
Yeah, it's
more
a real
time when you're
time. You know what I mean?
producing.
Yeah, it's a you know what I mean? It's like in war, you got people who are on the front line, like, you know what I'm saying? Like right on the front
Yeah.
line. And in the fields, in the trenches with it, right then and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like DJing, and then like producing. You got like somebody like up in a higher place, right, in a higher place in space. They putting together the plan for how they gonna infiltrate. It's a little
Right.
bit more. It's a little bit more long play. Like, okay, we
Like
gonna we gonna
strategic.
set this up. We gonna set this up over here, right? And then
Yeah.
we gonna you know what I mean? It's more of
Yeah.
a long play game. You feel me? And then the DJing is more of a short play. It's like right now. You feel me? I mean, I
Yeah.
just put it in terms of like that's the only thing I could think of to where I could contrast both. You know what I mean? But both are extremely effective, when you can use both. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep. Hey, I was gonna ask you this though. So this is my follow-up question though. So when it come to
All right.
producing and you ain't like your producing process, not to ask you for
Okay.
no extra sauce or nothing like that,
No,
but
it's all good.
when you working with an artist, you know what I mean? Are you usually like sending them the beat first? Or are you making the beat in front of them? Are you making the
Right.
melodies and saying, hey, do you
Right.
like this? And then adding drums later. How do you kind of go about the production process? Because I know you specifically choose artists and make tapes, like make projects with them. So how
Yeah.
do you
Well,
go about that?
it's all the above. There's no right or no one size fits all. No, you know what I mean? It's all the above. Like me and Currency right now, we just wrapping up our second Tonight show, and um so I sent him a lot of beats at first,
Okay.
and then I went and got the sessions. He gave me the sessions, and then I'll further build from the sessions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what people are really gonna hear with this project. Like, you're really gonna hear how it sounds when a vocalist gets with the producer, and both of them put in the same equal amount of effort as far as the finish to completion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's well put
Right.
together. There's no dull moments because we worked on it entirely. Most albums that we hear is
Mhm.
the beats get emailed,
Right.
rapper record or vocalist records to the track, and then the engineer may make a change here or there on to the next. We didn't do that.
Right.
We fully went in on, he's dropping the vocals, I'm
Mhm.
getting the session, I'm adding horn sections, I'm you know what I mean, just really just making a composition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
But
you
it's
pretty
all the
much
above,
like,
it's all the oh my bad, what'd you say?
no, I was gonna say it sounded like you kind of like send a skeleton first.
There you
You
go.
send a
Yeah, skeleton.
skeleton for
That's
him
exact.
to
Yes,
okay.
it's an idea. It's an
Yeah.
idea, and then you turn the idea into a motion picture. You feel me?
Yeah. Man, that's
Sonically.
clutch.
Yeah,
That's
sonically. You
clutch.
know what I mean? So, but it's however it come is however it come. Everything must go. I'm a however I get it. How we gonna that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done. I'm just in the space now to where I have the liberty and space to do that, because not every artist is gonna trust you with their sessions. You know what I mean? What if you turn their
Yeah.
vocals up too loud? Or what if you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there's a level of trust involved too, you know what I'm saying, with amongst the producer and the vocalist. But I would say that, because you asked me how do I go about the music. If it sounds good, it's got to sound good to me first. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I really just be making beats for myself. Most of my first beats, I was just making them for me because I just wanted to hear new music, and then it
Yeah.
just so happened that other people liked them as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never make something really with like the thought in mind of like, oh, they gonna like this. I know they will like it, but I'm not driven by them liking it first. Then I create it.
Right.
I create it. Then I'm like, yeah, they probably gonna like this. You know what I mean? But I just make it.
Yeah.
If I like it, if it sound good to me, then I start there.
Okay. I definitely understand that. This my lead up question though is so I
Okay.
mean, are you mixing this stuff yourself, or you getting with an engineer after you add in your extras, you getting with an engineer, you guys going in with it together and kind of just fixing everything up.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what it is. Yeah, I mean, I get it sounding how I want it to sound, and then
yeah,
I'll send it to my engine. Well, but I'll tell you what I've been doing lately, though. Lately, what I've
mhm,
been doing is I know how I want my beats to sound.
yeah,
So lately, what I've been doing is I'll just tell my engineer, mix the vocals, send me the vocals back, and then I'll place the vocals where I want them to sit within my beat because I've
yeah,
noticed that when I send beats out, it's not that they don't sound good, but it's just a little bit different. And it's a little bit
yeah,
different because it's not, I'm taking it from how I intended it to sound to someone else's ear who is
right,
making it sound how they think it should sound. So they're not doing
right,
anything wrong, but it's
right,
like, I know how I want it to sound. You know what I'm saying? I know how I want it
right,
to be. So, and that comes with just trusting your ears, you know what I'm saying? Trusting your sonics. So that's
yeah,
what I've been doing. I'm very hands on with everything that I do, especially at this point. So that's my
okay,
formula. Yeah, that's been my latest formula where yeah, I'll just have my engineer, you know, mix the vocals, get them crispy for me, get them all, you know what I'm talking about? And then
yeah,
once he sends that back, then I'll place them where I want them to sit in the beat, and I'll have my levels to my tracks all the way it is, like all my delays and reverbs and fade ins and just
okay,
everything, you know what I'm saying? And then it's kind of like this. It's kind of like if I wrote a cook if I was a chef, right? And
yeah,
I wrote a cookbook and I gave you all my ingredients exactly to the T of
mhm,
how I do what I do. That's why earlier when you said you ain't gonna ask me about too much sauce, I'm like, no, it's all good because I can give you the sauce, but your sauce will be good from the sauce that I gave you, but it won't quite be like my sauce.
right, exactly,
If I can give you I give you all the look, I can give you all the tools on how to build a Maybach. You can have the machinery, but it's
right,
gonna be missing just a little one, two. You know what I'm talking about? Because
yeah,
you feel me. So it's the same with my process and the way how I do what I do, and that's why earlier I was saying too when you was like asking me advice about producers is just do you times 20 because only you can do you. No one else can do you
right,
but you. So you might as well dive into doing you at your highest and best ability and capability so
yeah,
that, you know what I'm saying, no one will be able to stop you but you
right,
instead of trying to sound like them.
right. Definitely, 100%. I got two more questions for you. Just one quick
It's
one.
all good.
Um, when it comes to the beats and like the aspect of you getting the record back, are you having artists record on two tracks, or are you using track outs? I mean, of course, sometimes you may send them to the two track just for recording purposes, but then at that point, are you putting the track outs in there to make it sound how you want to sound overall?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if I,
Okay.
I mean, if I can have it my way, yeah, uh, I prefer to work from the stems once the vocals are done. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But I
Okay.
always want to keep the flow. Whatever's when it's myself and the artist, whatever's the most fastest way and the most efficient way to help them get the work done so I can get the work back and get it to
Yeah.
completion, that's what I go with. I don't want to
Okay.
slow down the process as far as the workflow. Once the
Right.
workflow is flowing, I want to keep it flowing. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like when Pac was like, "Man, we can do all that mixing and all the other shit later." Like the
Later.
same thing. Like let's just keep this
Okay.
flow going while the ideas is flowing. You know what I'm saying? Then we can go back later and fine tune it and you know what I'm saying, do all that. But when the creativity is going, let's capture the creativity. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And play ball.
Okay. All right. Second question is beyond social media, what major differences do you see between when you started in the industry and someone just getting started today?
Beyond social media, like I said, it took a lot more to get started when I was coming up, you know what I mean? it just it's again, you could just have a phone, especially now with the AI and all this stuff. And no, no, mind
Yeah.
you, I love being able to utilize the tools. All these things are just tools to get things done that you're trying to get things done in the most efficient way. But that's the big difference that I see. It's like today's time, because you can just get started in doing whatever it is you want to get started doing, which is a great thing. But the curse of it is that you don't get the soldier story with it. Like you don't get so
Yeah.
many of the hurdles that you have to go through to just even get to things that you get like that these days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like like these kids don't know what it's like to save up for a couple summers just to buy a turntable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or just you can be a model overnight. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just so fast now that that's the biggest thing that I see. It's like as great as it is to be able to get started in whatever it is you want to do, it's just also a curse too because you don't get when you invest your time into something, you want to get a reward from it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the opposite now. It's like people want the biggest reward from things with doing the least amount of time to get those things. You want
Yeah.
astronomical results and reward with minimal effort and work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the flip side of
100%.
that is for people like me who, I'm never gonna stop, it's also very easy to propel because most people are quitters, most people are lazy, most people don't
Yeah.
have discipline. So
Yeah.
it's gonna take you a little bit longer, but if you could just stay in it and just keep continuing to go forward, it's just
Mhm.
like the story of the hare and the or the turtle and the hare, the turtle and the rabbit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right. Yep.
Just if you just stay the course, you're most likely gonna just um go past everybody else. It's just going your biggest thing is it's just gonna take some time. You feel
Yeah.
me? But again, the time that you could be using towards getting your goals done, most people want to just complain about it not happening fast enough. And so you running
Right.
around doing X, Y, Z, and ABC, wasting time. You feel me?
Yeah.
Wasting time that you could be putting towards what you ultimately want to do. Think about this real quick. We're almost in 2025. 2020 was
Mhm.
just 5 years ago. It don't seem like it was 5 years ago. And we're close
Right.
to 2030. And when 2030 gets here, it's gonna seem like, dang, 2025 was not that long ago. So, time is
Yeah.
no longer the same. Used to be uh uh what was the saying? Time is flying, right?
Yeah.
Time is
Absolutely.
no longer flying. It's fast forwarding right now.
Yeah. For real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like, hey man, before you know it'd be a whole decade that went past and you still focus on that clock of how long something is gonna take when in actuality, just proceed forward. You feel me?
Yep, 100%, man. I ain't gonna lie. That's all the questions I had for you, man. I just want to
Okay,
thank you
man.
so much for your time. Thank
Man,
you
I
for
appreciate it.
everything, bro.
Yeah.
If you can, just let everybody know where they can find you at and where they can
Okay.
follow you at.
Man, I'm easy to find, man. Instagram, DJ Fresh, DJ Fresh, DJ Fresh, all one word. You can check me out on YouTube, DJ Fresh, with two H's, DJ FRESHH on YouTube. And that's it, man. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all can check out the website, djfreshthetonight.show.com. But I ain't hard to find, man. And I appreciate your time. T Mafianie.
For sure, bro. I appreciate you, dog. I
Yes,
really
sir.
do from the bottom of my heart, bro.
That was great. That was a great
Um,
interview, man. I don't listen. I'm gonna let y'all know I don't like doing interviews, man. But he tapped in with me and his energy was right, and I was like, yeah, that's what's sad. It was happening, and now that we got it done, that was a great interview, man. I appreciate your content and sharing your platform with me.
for sure, bro. Thank you too, man.
Yep,
I
yep.
appreciate it.